I'd just like to give you a little update on some of the really exciting things that are happening out on the reserve this year. A whole suite of things connected with the Heritage Lottery Fund, a new tower where the Holden Tower used to be, the Estuary Tower, that's being built. But we're doing a fantastic amount of habitat creation work around the whole of the reserve. A massive network of ditches are being widened, deepened to improve the habitat. A whole range, maybe a dozen or so extra ponds being created. A wonderful new wildlife corridor just here that's going to have a mixture of wildflowers, ponds, wider areas of ditches. It's going to be part of our wild safaris. Really exciting stuff. Many of you will be familiar with the cranes that we're seeing increasingly around the centre at Slimbridge. Well, we're doing a lot of work for them as well. 5 new, hopefully, nesting islands, wetlands with shallow areas and islands. The other big thing for us, something particularly exciting for me, I'm a keen botanist, I love my flowers. Large areas of the reserve are really quite species poor, but potentially could be really good. We're sowing whole wildflower meadows, we're introducing patches of wildflowers in other areas as well. May, of course, is a magical month for bird migration, and the real highlight this year was an absolutely awesome white-winged black tern. If you've never seen one, look it up. But a suite of other rarities have passed through. Temming stint, spoonbills have been around quite a bit, but the focus now does turn to the breeding birds, and a really good time of year to catch up with our avocets. They're very busy, their young are just hatching at the moment. Young oyster catchers around the place. Ducklings are beginning to appear as well, mallard and shelduck mainly. June is a great month for the wild safaris as well. They'll be taking this route, which in time will get better and better, more wildlife associated with it. But out onto the estuary, up to the north end of the reserve, things to look out for will be hobbies. Dragonflies, of course, they feed on, they're great at this time of year as well. Marsh harriers have been a real feature over the last little while, so I hope to see some of those, and lots of other wildlife as well. So if you get the chance, do come along every weekend and then daily through the summer holidays. A fantastic introduction to the reserve here at Slimbridge.
I'm behind the scenes, just behind the rushy pen, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's going on at this time of the year below the water surface. And we're going to tell you about the sticklebacks that we're going to be displaying over the next week at our pop-up Spring to Life. During this time of the year, as the temperatures rise, the spring, there is a flurry of activity below the water surface across our reserves, with the 3-spined sticklebacks, one of the species that you can find throughout the Northern Hemisphere and one of our native species of fish. They're a very charismatic fish, one of the first fish I kept and bred as a young boy, and this time of the year is when they're starting to build the nests. The males come into the shallows of the water and they'll start to build their nest and make them out of vegetation and material. Outside the breeding season, sticklebacks tend to be quite dull in colour and they'll live in shoals. But as soon as that temperature rises, the males will start to move away into the shallow waters, set up their territories, develop their really bright red breast and their blue coloured eyes. Once the males have finished building their nest, which takes around about 5 hours, they'll approach any female that swims by. They'll do a zigzag dance to court and encourage them into this nest, which is a tunnel. Sometimes they'll swim through the tunnel to guide the female into position. If she likes the nest, she'll lay eggs and that male will guard those eggs, and he'll even oxygenate the eggs for around about 7 days until the eggs hatch into little fry, miniature-sized versions of the sticklebacks. If you want to see sticklebacks in the wild for yourself, come along and check out our pond zone area, where there's loads of sticklebacks living in those ponds. And you can also see them during our pop-up exhibits at Spring to Life.
We're behind the scenes here at Slimbridge Duckery to meet our spotted whistling ducks. They are one of 8 species of whistling duck, so named because of their spotted plumage and their unusual vocalisations. Our spotted whistling ducks will be featuring in our Living Wetland Theatre, and that will be coming to you next year. They have been in training for a little under a year now and have been doing incredibly well with their free flight training and many other behaviours. The method of training we use with all our birds is positive reinforcement training. This is also known as reward-based training. Using positive reinforcement training methods gives our animals a choice as to whether they want to participate or not. All the things we're working on with our birds are behaviours that would come naturally to them. This is a great way for us to demonstrate all the things that they would do in the wild. For more information on the Living Wetland Theatre as part of our Slimbridge 2020 project, please visit our website.